You're gonna put yourself out there, and somebody's gonna say, "Oh, he's lame," but that doesn't mean that you stop putting yourself out there. Because if your intentions in going out there is pure and are authentic to who you are, so what?
Yeah, and I think the word that I've come back to on this is like you can't be attached to the results.
Mm.
I think I'm letting go of wanting to be attached to the results. And to some degree, like you have to be willing a little bit to detach from the results with kids. Like I can
Mm.
strive to help my kids learn. I can strive to provide them the best education possible. But to some degree, I've got to let that go. And I think that's a bigger issue when it comes to teaching and education is we feel like if we just strive and strive and strive, that eventually we can get kids there. But I think it takes away from the kids' ability to be accountable, and it takes away from their opportunity to be the one driving the learning. You know, for me, what I'm taking into 2022 are the two words from the book that started inspired education. Inspire. I'm going to spend my, spring semester breathing life into my kids the best way I can. And then I'm going to take the education, educare in the Latin, and pull out what's already in them. We have this idea that it's our job, like that our kids can't do it unless we give it to them. And that's been misconstrued as kids can't do it unless we do it for them.
Mm.
I'm not about that life for doing it for my kids. Because I don't think they learn when you do it for them.
Great.
That's where I'm at on that. So what are you leaving behind in 2021, and what are you taking into 2022?
I think for me, I'm leaving my doubts. There's and that's hard to talk about because no one wants to admit that they doubt themselves. Um, but I'm leaving my doubts. I'm leaving my doubts um, in 2021. They're there. I'm not pulling them into 2022. And I'm allowing myself the freedom to believe that anything and everything is possible. That there is no specific timeline, that there is no specific course of actions that has to be taken. There's not a you do this, then all of this is going to manifest. It's a matter of believing, doing, and manifesting. And a lot of times I've allowed my doubts to keep me from even reaching out to people who've offered themselves to me. And when I say doubts, not just doubting my ability, but doubting if this really is for me.
Mm,
Doubting, is this really where I want to be?
mm,
Um, and it'll keep you locked into like in a perpetual state of purgatory almost, where you're just neither going left, right, up, or down. You're just stuck. And everything around you is moving. So you have that sense that I'm moving, but you're not. And so for me, that's what stays behind, and that's what comes with me is this sense of all things are possible to them that believe. Getting back to my roots, I was that person that woke up every morning with tiptoe expectations, waiting to see the next great thing that was going to happen, and the great things were happening. And then I got to the point to where I woke up, and instead of being on tiptoes, I was just like, if it happens, it happens. you know, and now, when I was down with COVID, the thing that kept resonating to me was like, man, you got to go back to your hustle stage. I remember I used to give people a hard time about grinding and hustling because I'm like, grinding is such a that means something's rubbing against something, and that when you think of something grinding, you think of this dissonance, and when you think of hustling, you think of this swindler that's trying to do it. But I was like, no, it's not, because the grinding, yes, it's something pushing against. It's you pushing against yourself. It's your actual pushing against your doubt. It's your destiny pushing against your doubt. And the more you try to grind it out, it's like you got to just get it to the point to where you start shaving stuff, and it's like, nah, who I want to become, who I am going to become, is going to win regardless. Who I'm going to become is going to win regardless.
Sharpening stone.
Hmm.
I can imagine, if I were to rub this against my knuckle, it wouldn't feel good.
Not at all.
And that's coming back to the analogy we've been using so much, we talk a lot about in the book, is that you don't sharpen a knife by adding to it.
Right.
You sharpen it by taking away. And I think getting back to, and if I'm coming back to, what I know about 2022, 5 years ago, when we talked about grinding and hustling, I made that choice to step out of the classroom because I had a different understanding of what that word meant. But I know now that grinding and hustling, for me, in terms of what it looks like, it doesn't mean sacrificing every single thing to this. It doesn't mean giving up on my family time. It doesn't mean letting go of those other priorities I have, because I think grind culture says you are going, 24/7, 365 on this thing. For me, grinding and hustling is about being committed and doing the work in every single facet of my life. So when I'm working out, even for that 45 minutes, 4 or 5 times a week, I'm grinding at it. I'm not half-assing.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm with my wife, I'm not dinking around on my phone. I'm with my wife. When I'm with my kids, I'm with my kids. And when I'm with the podcast, or I'm with the book, or I'm with video editing, I'm with those things. That's what it's about. For me, grinding and hustling is about being with whatever I'm with.